chat there, buddy. Grassi's the man. There's no doubt about that. All right. Up next, Goody is asked about Tet McMillan. Listen to this pop he gets out of the crowd here as he got him on Matt Schneidman. Let's hear what he had to say about Tet McMillan.
Strongly on what they've done to kind of get us to where we are right now.
Brian, there was the report that you were the only GM to go watch McMillan's workout in Arizona.
I was there.
Oh, you weren't? Okay.
No, yeah, I was there. I don't know if I was. Yeah. And I don't know if I was the only one there. I may be the only one reported to be there, but no, good. We had him up for our 30 visit as well, and we've kind of he's a third-year junior coming out, so we've spent a lot of time with him. So it's been good.
You've ended up with a pretty high percentage of 30 visit guys being on your team. So obviously you can't draft all 30, but when you use those, especially when you have 3 big name wide receivers be part of that process, you get the Javon Walker question every year, but do you think you're looking at the position any differently this year because of the visits you had and maybe where your roster is at that position?
No, I don't think so. I feel really good about our roster right now. I think that's one of the – it doesn't happen every year. Every year is a little bit different, but if we had to go play next week, I feel really good about our roster and our ability to win and go compete. So really across the board. So, hopefully as this draft unfolds, we're able to just kind of sit back and select the best players that fall to us. That'll be, I think something we've prepared ourselves to be in. So, no, I don't think we've looked at it really any differently than other than certainly if there's an opportunity to take a player at that position that makes sense, we'll do it. But I don't think we feel like we need to do anything.
I swear, man, I think Goody's in a good place here, guys. I really do. And that answer there, and again, him cutting up with Matt Schneidman, I think is absolutely awesome. He just seems like he's comfortable. He likes the squad he's got put together. We were talking about this a little bit yesterday, and I heard someone else talk. I swear I hear some live shows, whether it's Milwaukee or Madison. Amelia knows what I'm talking about. Do you ever get the feeling that people might be listening to our show a little bit, Amelia?
A couple of those lines, man, they sound pretty familiar.
And again, if that's the case, that's absolutely awesome because I love listening to those pods. I love listening to those live shows. But it's just funny how we cover a couple things the night before, and then all of a sudden, bang, they're talking. It's like a topic, But anyway, just hearing them kind of go through that whole process and talk about everything from a wide receiver standpoint. Tim, man, it sounds to me like Goody's in a real good place.
Yep.
And you have Tet McMillan in. You've got to at least be entertaining the option of, hey, if he falls far enough, we may trade up and get this guy. You know what I'm saying? I think it's highly unlikely it happens, and maybe they didn't get the information they needed to warrant them going up. But it seems like that was at least on the table, man.
For sure. And whether it's trading up or if he falls and we go wide receiver in the first round, I could see that being just as likely of a possibility, especially when you're talking about a guy like Tet McMillan, again, try to predict what Goody's going to do and see how that works out for you. The best you can do is stack your board up and look at these guys and see how the draft starts to fall. We talked about it last night, maybe 10 or 15 picks into the draft, you might see guys making moves. But I think Goody is just as content to stick and pick as he is to trade up or trade down in this draft. So, flip a coin and see what happens.
Yeah. What about you, Jacob?
Yeah, I don't see him going up for Tet. I just don't. But like Tim just said, if there is a situation where like Tet's out there and it's pick 20 or something like that, I could see Goody just being like, oh, all right.
That's pretty
But I really go back and forth with whether or not the fact that Goody is in Green Bay, that it is at Green Bay, like if that's going to actually, he obviously he's going to say no and won't make any decision like for me whatsoever. It has to weigh a little bit. Even if he never admits it, even if nobody ever admits it, it has to weigh a little bit. The fact that they are in Green Bay, the hometown crowd, everybody's expecting it. The vendors, all, you know what I mean? Like there is some sort of aspect there where like there's a pressure on him to make that first round awesome. You know what I mean? I just can't imagine the thing where like, hey, with the 23rd pick, the Packers trade out of the first round. We'll see you tomorrow. It's like, All
Right.
right.
I can see it. I can see that though, right?
I would love it. You guys
I'm gonna
know
do
I
what's
would
best
love
for
it.
the team, right?
Exactly. And,
But
and that would
I
be
think
the
to
ultimate.
your point though, like to your point, Jacob, like a little bit, you got to think that a little bit. Goody's probably thinking about that, but I don't think it's enough that it's going to influence him. Either way, he's gonna make the move that he sees fit. Right at the end of the day.
Yeah, it was just like a week or two ago. Mark Murphy actually made the comment, like, if it's best for the team, trade out of the first. I don't care that the draft's in Green Bay. I would be over the moon if they traded back. And would I rather them stay in the first? I probably would, just to kind of get your pick of that litter from 10 to 40. Like, okay, there's still some of the guys that's got the maximum grade in this tier type thing, if indeed it is pretty even from 10 to 40. But at the same time, if you traded out and got into the second, and all of a sudden you've got 2 2s, 3 3s, and an extra fifth or something, I'm gonna be over the moon, not too, man.
Yep. And that's what Goody was saying, was like, if it's in our worst interest to trade out just so that we can get a couple more picks just to back up a couple spots, like, we're not going to do it. If that's the case, we got to take the player that's there. We got to make sure that we can still get the guy if we're going to move back in the first place. So, it wouldn't be. I feel like, we get some of those trades. If you were to trade out of the first, that's like 10 spots. Even if you go to the Browns, you get the second pick in the second round. I mean, you're still losing 10 players right there. So you would think that it'd have to be just a trade back in the first, and then kind of go from there to try to get a little capital.
Right. You guys, I think it was Ryan's pod this morning where the rumor on the street is that there are multiple teams looking to trade back. That doesn't just mean that we get to trade back. You have to have somebody that's willing to come up.
That's exactly what DJ was saying on his, was like, dude, he's like, yeah, I got a lot of teams that are trying to put it in reverse, not a lot of teams that are trying to put it in drive.
Right.
So I mean, that's a fact. I mean, how many people want to come behind us? How many people want to come up? Like, not a few. I mean, a few with the people remaining in the first. Maybe you get a couple of those, the Giants or the Cleveland, they want to get a 5th round option on somebody. Fine. But it seems so thin this year.
Now let's flip the script on that real quick. If everybody is looking to come back, that should make it a little easier to go up and get a Tet McMillan.
That's completely fair. That's completely fair.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Dave. I didn't cut you off, man.
No, I just was going to say that it, like you just said, that it's an intriguing thing. It's a give and take. It's like if all these teams, I mean, look right behind us, the Vikings that have 4 picks. You know what I mean? They're definitely in that trade back division. But it's like, which team would you rather trade up with? You know what I mean? Obviously, you'd assume that the Packers are going to have more to give you, kind of thing. And so it is just kind of a cluster, and it does make for an intriguing first round, because I would argue that other than maybe the first pick and maybe pick 2, no one has any idea what the heck's about to happen. And that's pretty fun.
Yeah, it really is, man. I'm looking forward to Peter Schrager's mock draft. We got the most recent accurate mock draft by Brendan Donahue that we're going to cover either tonight or tomorrow. If we do a show tomorrow's going to be hectic. We'll talk about it at the end of the show. But Peter Schrager put out a tweet earlier today too, and he said the 2 guys who have won the interview process and are universally beloved as people in addition to their playing ability: number 1, Jalen Walker, edge; number 2, Emeka Egbuka, wide receiver. Yep. So don't be surprised if we trade up to get Emeka. Or, if he, somehow, some way falls to. I'm telling you, man, Greg Cosell knocked that one out of the park. He talked about Emeka Egbuka being, this dude is going to be a 10-year pro when he steps into your organization. And now you're hearing everything's just falling right in line for that. And you go back and look at these past Ohio State receivers. They have all translated over to the NFL almost seamlessly, right? Your Chris Olaves, your Garrett Wilsons, your JSNs, all of them. So Marvin Harrison
Jr. Yep, great.
You know what's crazy too is
I would feel really good about not getting Jaden Higgins if we in fact moved up and got Emeka Egbuka. Like, great constellation right there.
I will say this: going through Daniel Jeremiah's top 150, Jaden Higgins jumped pretty far. Matter of fact, we did not have a grade for him originally for Daniel Jeremiah. Daniel Jeremiah has him in the 46th spot.
Higgins?
Yeah, Higgins.
Nice.
So, and again, that separates himself from Trey Harris a touch. Trey Harris is now in the 52 spot for us. Jaden Higgins is in the 47th spot. So,
see, as big of a Jaden Higgins guy as I am, I love him in the second round. I don't necessarily love him in the first round. So if we go up to get Igbokwe in the first round or a Tet McMillan or something, I'd feel great about that for sure.
Is it weird that at this point, I think that we have a better chance at Tet falling than Igbokwe? And I've heard it from different people on multiple podcasts today, even that there's talks that rumors that the Jags at like 5, because think about this, the Jags at 5, a lot of people are saying you got to go D-line, you got a running back, maybe something like that. If the Jags were to go and get an Igbokwe, who everybody like we're talking now is basically said, this dude is a consistent, like a plug and play starter that's going to be there for 10 years. They got him and Brian Robinson or Brian John, whatever the new guy was that absolutely killed it last year. Brian Thomas, thank you. And you got 2 wide receivers that are absolute pro ready that are on like their, one's for 4 years, one's for 5 years, that you can restart a whole organization from that. Like, so the fact
Duval.
Why'd you do that? It is interesting though. Like this draft is for certain teams, there are certain plug and play type prospects which could completely shift the rest of the draft, which is really